ThaBoxingvoice.com, live here with Adam Smith of Sky Sports. How are you and how's New York City treating you?
I've just got off the plane, so I'm new in, a little bit jet lagged, but I seem to be back and forth a lot in the last few weeks. So we were there in Vegas for the Canelo Jacobs fight. After that I went down to see Anthony in Miami, and then Deontay Wilder in Brooklyn. So yeah, we've been over here.
So you went to see Deontay Wilder in Brooklyn?
We were there for the Wilder fight. Yeah, we were there for the week and called the fight for Sky back home. So yeah, it was good.
Now there are rumors that there was an invitation to the Anthony Joshua fight. Did Sky invite him?
Listen, we said to Deontay when we were in Brooklyn, you're very welcome to come, and so too was Shelley Finkel. I asked him in the interview after the win against Brazil whether he'd come, and he said I've got obligations, but who knows. Shelley said he's coming, so we'll see.
So Shelley Finkel is confirmed that he will be there?
I think so, that's what he told me. He said he is coming, but I'm not sure if Deontay is, and I might give him a call and see if he is, but he might be having time with the family, I don't know. I mean, he came over for the Klitschko fight a couple of years back, and he commentated with us at ringside, and he absolutely loved it, and I think he was planning to come back for another one, but it didn't work out. So he's seen Joshua before.
There were some rumors of added security and AJ not wanting him there.
I think there was yeah, I think it was maybe the Parker fight, I can't remember, or possibly the Takam fight. Anyway, it didn't happen. Deontay was going to come over, then didn't at the last minute. So listen, I'd love to see him in the Garden on Saturday. Everyone wants the Joshua Wilder fight to happen, and I think the likelihood of that happening is increases if they're around each other, and if they use this. Obviously Wilder's platform from the other week when he knocked out Brazil in dramatic fashion. Anthony's got a big job to do here, and if he can deal with Andy Ruiz as well, then look, we all want that fight. Tyson Fury as well. The three of them, we've got to get them all in the ring with each other. But Fury's got his own business in Vegas in a few weeks' time, so it's sort of marking time at the minute. And while that happens, the danger is that the banana skin of heavyweight boxing, one of them gets knocked out, and big fights can go out the window. So it's business at the moment, and June the 1st is all that AJ will be thinking about now.
Now, did you want Deontay Wilder there from a spectator's standpoint or from a commentary capacity? Was he going to commentate for Sky?
We haven't asked him, but we'd be delighted if he came and sat at ringside with us, or whether he just wanted to go and sit in the back of the Garden and just assess things. And listen, I always think that if big fights are not being made, to have the guys in the same building, to have them with cameras around them, to try and push them in the right direction, because I, for one, believe that both Deontay and Anthony want this fight to happen, and I think they want it to happen badly. I think they both want to test each other with each other. I think they both want to find out if they can become undisputed, but there's huge teams around both of them who will do what's right for Deontay and what's right for Anthony, and that's the boxing business. But I was buoyed by the fact that Deontay told me in Brooklyn that he didn't want a Lewis Bowe situation. That was a great fight that never happened. I was devastated as a fight fan that never happened, as I'm sure you were and everybody else. Riddick Bowe at his very best, and Alex Lewis at his very best would have been a terrific fight. It took 20 years, didn't it, to make Lewis Tyson from when they first met in the Catskills. Look, we want to fight. We want to see it. Tyson Fury, Frank Warren did a great job getting Tyson Fury in that fight with Deontay Wilder. That was brilliant, and what a great fight it was. Then we thought there was going to be a rematch. They've all gone their separate ways, different TV companies, different promoters. Ultimately, the fans want to see the big fights. Everybody says to me, when is Anthony Joshua fighting either Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury? And you know what? Anthony's starting to ask me that now. So I don't think it's going to be that long, whether it's next or the one after. I think Anthony Joshua is going to start pushing this, and I think Deontay Wilder wants it too.
Now, we just had Deontay Wilder on our podcast, and one of the listeners submitted a question, and obviously they wanted him to be present at the fight. Deontay, can you come to Madison Square Garden and demand the fight?
What did he
say?
So
Deontay's answer is, why do I always have to come? Anthony Joshua's never been to one of my fights.
Yep.
Do you think that's because Sky is getting involved as a network and inviting Deontay, and it's on behalf of Showtime and PBC or whoever?
No. I'm not. We've got a huge amount of really good talent out here this week. We're working with Paulie Malignaggi, Tony Bellew, and Carl Frocher coming in. We've got Johnny Nelson, Matt Macklin. We've got a huge amount of our own talent here. I'm not saying to Deontay that come and work for us. I just want him there at the fight. I think it would be great for boxing if he was there at the fight. If he wants to come and do some bit of commentary, you know, I know how good he is, so he can join us. No, I don't think it's up to the TV networks to necessarily invite them. I think it's up to the fighters themselves to want to be there. Anthony couldn't be in Brooklyn. He was in Miami in training camp. So, you know, it's difficult. And I think that Anthony he didn't want to be there for Wilder Fury either. He just didn't want to be. He wasn't, you know, he's not that guy that's going to be at ringside calling a fighter out. Whereas Deontay is, Tyson Fury is. He came over to Brooklyn when Wilder fought Spilker and he got in the ring and it was great for all of us, for the media. It was great for television. So, you know, I just like to see them in proximity with each other as much as possible. I like to see Anthony, come maybe if they do have an interim fight, if he does fight Luis Ortiz, Wilder or Karanaki or someone like that, and maybe Joshua fights Dillian or Pulev or someone back home, maybe, they can both come to each other's. And what we saw with Vladimir Klitschko is he came to the Eric Molina fight and then he got in the ring afterwards and announced that they were fighting, and the world watched. And that was an amazing fight, and we want this to happen, and we want 2 or 3 fights with Wilder and Joshua and Fury. But we don't want to, you know, to miss the boat with it. We've had Wilder and Fury, and that was great. You know, Deontay was so close to the stoppage win in that, but in my opinion, Tyson Fury won that fight. A lot of people's opinion. Now Tyson Fury goes off to ESPN and does his own thing. Wilder's with Showtime, Anthony's with us, with Dazn for this fight. Who knows what happens next? But I think there's a lot of will from the fighters. I haven't spoken to Tyson lately, but I think there's a lot of will from Anthony and Deontay to make this fight. I really do. I think they are, deep down, they want to know if they can rack up all the belts, and there's a huge amount of money on the table, and there'll be even more if there was a rematch or even a trilogy. So come on guys, time to get it on. But let's deal with this first. June the 1st, he's got to fight Andy Ruiz and defend his titles. If Andy Ruiz becomes world heavyweight champion, the picture changes. And as we know in boxing, that can happen. Lewis knocked out twice, Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman. You know, they were given no chance, next to no chance. Who thought Holyfield would beat Tyson in their first fight? Who thought Buster Douglas had a prayer in Tokyo? I mean, it's not, you know, this is heavyweight boxing.
But you're comparing some Hall of Famers to Andy Ruiz.
No, I'm not comparing. I'm saying that in boxing, anything can happen. Andy Ruiz is a big outsider in this fight. Let's make no mistake about it. He's coming at late notice. Everyone expects Anthony Joshua to win, and he should win. But Andy Ruiz has only lost once. He's lost that in New Zealand, controversially as well. Very close fight. He's tough. He's much better than he looks. He's got quick hands, and he'll come to give it a real go. I think he'll give it everything. Do I think he's good enough? I don't think so. But if Anthony Joshua takes his eye off the ball, it's heavyweight boxing and anything can happen. And big fights go out of the window when little fights or little tests that people think they're just going to walk through, and they don't. So I expect Anthony Joshua to come through on June the 1st, but he's just got to take this one step before he even thinks about Deontay Wilder.
Do you think that Joshua can get a highlight reel performance? The type that will go viral, the type that picks up steam on the internet, that can only drive the fight between he and Wilder.
Just like Wilder did.
Similar to Wilder, yes.
Wilder did exactly what he needed to do and exactly what he told us he'll do. All week, everyone was saying, will it be a shootout? Will Brazil fire bombs early? He said it will be a blowout. And that's what he needed. After the sort of the war he had, the up and down battle with Luis Ortiz, obviously the difficult night against Tyson Fury, he needed that and he delivered. The manner of victory from Deontay Wilder in Brooklyn was phenomenal. And yes, you're right, that goes everywhere, that goes viral. If Anthony Joshua doesn't knock out Andy Ruiz in a similar way in the first round, are people going to say, oh, Anthony's not as good? No, they're not. Anthony Joshua has just got to do a number. But I agree, there's pressure on him. To make a statement at the Garden. I think a knockout win is what makes a statement. Does it have to be in the first round? No. Does it have to be dramatic? Yes, I think so.
Do you think that Deontay Wilder is in his feelings because he speaks of pride, he speaks of, you know, the negotiations being drawn out for 4 months, like he can't get past the past in order to move into the future for future negotiations. He just, you know, when we talk to him, he's like, yeah, but they dragged me out. I don't want to go back through that. I don't want them to. You don't understand, you know.
So what makes the fight?
You want something.
So what makes the fight happen. Okay, it took 20 years to get Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson in a ring. They first worked together in the Catskills when they were teenagers. Why did that take so long? Why did Lewis-Bowe never happen? Why did Pacquiao-Mayweather, 2 different networks, take so long to make, and then it wasn't a great fight when it was made? They could have had a trilogy by the time it was made. Because it's about money and about business, and it's about protecting what you've got. I understand that. Deontay Wilder wants to make as much money as he can. It's a short career. So does Anthony Joshua. So does Tyson Fury. Why has Tyson Fury gone and signed for ESPN? There's a lot of money on the table. Why did Deontay Wilder turn down the big money offer from Dazn? You know.
Can we talk about that? Because as a network executive, wasn't Deontay within his rights to ask what's in the pot? If I'm a fighter and I'm fighting for Sky, and Sky says, hey, I want you to fight Anthony Joshua, I'm going to pay you $40 million, am I not within reason to say, how much is Anthony Joshua getting?
I think, look, Deontay is in reason. He can do whatever he likes. Ultimately, he didn't take the DAZN deal. He's in his rights to ask whatever. I wasn't in that room. I don't know what happened in that room. But what I do know is that he didn't take the offer. Will they go back? Will they offer him more? Possibly, of course. It could happen after Saturday night. Maybe it's happened already. But he's also showed a loyalty here to Showtime. Obviously, Al Heyman guides him. Shelley Finkel has been with him. Brilliant operator has been with him. And he's been with so many fighters. And he's been with him since the beginning. So he trusts his team. JD has from the beginning. He hasn't sort of got lots of different trainers or lots of different managers or agents or whatever. He's got the same team. Anthony Joshua's got the same team. Eddie Hearn, Freddie Cunningham, the same crew around him. So they both got their fighters' interests at heart. What does it take to make this fight? Well, I think I know, that both fighters want this fight. Is it? You get the 2 of them in the room together on their own, and they come out and say this is what happens. I don't know, but I do know that the fans are getting more and more frustrated.
But you think if they got in the room and hammered out a deal, that their promoters or respective advisors and managers would stick with that plan?
They haven't managed to make it without something like that happening. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it needs both of them and all their representatives to be together in a big room. I don't know. I don't think Anthony and Deontay have got together and talked about the fight. And presumably there is enough money on the table to make 1, 2, 3 fights, right? So, does it need 20 of them to be in a room? Does it need 2 of them to be in a room? I don't know.
Can you educate us? How does it work? Is the offer come strictly from the promoter, or is the network invested in the offer? Because allegedly this $50 million offer came from Showtime. So why can't we reverse it? Why isn't Sky, who obviously is in the AJ business, I want to say you're competing with DAZN, even though you're working one and the other, and it's not the same territory. That nothing tells me that they're not coming to the UK. They're in every other territory. So wouldn't it be in your best interest for them? Wouldn't it be in your best interest for you to offer Deontay Wilder a fight to fight on Sky? Well, that one fight or that one fight in a rematch?
Yeah, traditionally as broadcasters, we work with a promoter. Eddie Hearn makes the fights happen. I don't know quite how it works in America, but what I do know, and DAZN obviously are a new breed here, and they're throwing a lot of money at things, and they're doing it their way. But they didn't get Deontay Wilder. They did get Canelo, they did get Golovkin, and they have got Joshua for this fight, but they didn't get Deontay Wilder. Maybe they still will. All I know is that we've got a big long-term deal with Matchroom, with Eddie. We've got a big long-term deal with Anthony Joshua, who will fight on Sky Sports box office, and it's a revenue share. It's a box office pay-per-view event. So no, there's no sort of we're going to give 20 million or 30 million. None of that. Eddie Hearn's the promoter. He makes the fight, and obviously everything goes into the pot. And part of that is the UK pay-per-view.
Okay. So, who else is Sky invested in? Like you said, you have a long-term contract with AJ. Who else do you see carrying the torch for boxing outside of the heavyweight division?
So I'll deal with Matchroom. So we've been with Matchroom since I first started at Sky 25 years ago. We went with a lot of other promoters, Frank Warren for many years, Mick Hennessy, Ricky Hatton, Frank Maloney, many others. But we decided in around about 2012, 13 sort of time to go with Eddie exclusively. And it's worked really well because we've had slightly less shows in a calendar year, but they've been bigger, they've been thicker, they've been, as we found when Froch and Groves landed at Wembley with 80,000, and then obviously Joshua's fought at Wembley twice, and at the Millennium twice. You know, it's huge numbers. So by going with Eddie was definitely the right decision. That deal goes on until the end of 2021, and obviously his fighters are our fighters. So who do I think can carry the torch? I think, look, there's a lot of possibilities out there. Dillian Whyte has been on Sky Sports box office now a few times, and again against Oscar Rivas in July. So he's moving a lot of numbers. I always thought Chris Eubank Jr. could end up becoming a possible pay-per-view fighter, but he went on to ITV. You've got Callum Smith, who's obviously on the big show here, the best super middleweight in the world. There's no reason why he can't at some point become a Sky Sports box office fighter. There's Katie Taylor. You know, wouldn't it be amazing if Katie Taylor could?
How does it affect you guys when they're fighting over here? It has to stress the numbers and viewership.
Of course. We would have much preferred Anthony to have fought Dillian Whyte at Wembley in April. For our model, of course, at 10 o'clock at night. 4 in the morning is not as good. You're not going to get as many viewers. However, I also think it's right that Anthony Joshua comes to America at this time, because we all want the Wilder and Fury fights. They're all fighting here, and I believe that the big fights, we've known Hatton, when Ricky Hatton fought Floyd Mayweather, when Hatton fought Pacquiao, when Pacquiao fought Mayweather, when Mayweather fought McGregor, box office records, huge numbers. So we know for the big fights, people will stay up. We still think there'll be a lot of people that will stay up for this one, because AJ has a huge support back home. But obviously we're not silly. We know Andy Ruiz is not going to get the dial like some of the other big names, but they will watch Anthony Joshua. So yeah, it's better when we get fights in Britain, but we understand that DAZN are putting huge amounts of money into the marketplace, and we can't necessarily compete head to head, and we don't want to. We are, as you say, we are friends at the moment. We're taking a lot of their material and we're putting it on back home, and we're helping them out in Britain. If they enter the UK market, of course they become a rival, but at the moment it's friendly fire and it's good fire, and we get on very well with our DAZN colleagues. I work closely with Joe Markowski, with Matt Miller and Simon Denyer and all the team, and it's great. And let's see what the future lies. No one knows. They've got to make their model work here with Canelo, with Golovkin, with Joshua, and they've got their business to sort out. And I don't think they'll enter the UK until they're happy with what they've got here. But I think you're right, they will enter the UK at some point.
So I believe you said you've been with Sky for 25 years.
25 years on August the 8th, my friend.
When is your contract up?
No, I'm staff at Sky. I'm very happy at Sky. I'm staff at Sky, and I've got great memories of Sky, and I've got a lot I want to do at Sky Sports going forward. I work very closely with the head of football, the head of cricket, the head of Formula One, the head of golf.
What if they want Adam Smith? What if they want to offer him that Canelo deal for DAZN UK? You never know. You're a player.
Listen, I love Sky. I absolutely love Sky, and that's who I work for. And I'm very proud to have been at Sky Sports since very early on. I think there were 50, 60 of us in the beginning, and there was one channel. And I started when Chris Eubank Sr. was on his world tour, so a long time ago, quarter of a century.
You look so young, though.
I don't know about that, but I've been very fortunate to have covered boxing for a long time for the best network back home, and Sky have stuck with boxing year in, year out. We've had a lot of competition. The BBC have played at it. ITV have come back in. Lately, we've got BT now. But there was Setanta, there was ITV Digital, there was a lot of other competition. And it's very good that we've sort of seen them all off. Maybe DAZN entering the UK marketplace will be the biggest competition. Who knows? BT have got a great setup with Frank Warren and the fighters they've got: Tyson Fury, Josh Warrington, and Billy Joe Saunders. Great fighters. It's just a fantastic time for fight fans. We haven't got every boxer, we haven't got every sweet in the jar, and we won't have, but we've got a great schedule on Sky, and it's part of a huge sort of network of sports. We've got all the golf majors, we've got a massive summer of cricket coming up, we've got the Premier League starting again in August. It's very exciting.
My final question, I just want to ask about I guess it's called the territories with Sky. Sometimes I'm in America and I can't view maybe something that Sky Sports tweeted out, when obviously it's going to take place on DAZN USA, and it's all the same thing, right? Like, you should want Americans to see Joshua being promoted on Sky so that they can seek him out. Why is it that certain tweets or
certain
videos
territories,
are blocked in America from specific Sky social medias?
I think that's there's territory things with DAZN and Sky, and it's that's conversations that go on in other places. But look, all we want to do is we want to promote Anthony as best as we can on Sky. Look, he's an ambassador for us as well, you know. It's difficult, you know. Anthony Joshua's been, in my opinion, you know, a phenomenal, absolute phenomenal. He's lit up the sporting world in Britain. Now I think he's going to light up America. I really do. I think he's got all the qualities, you know, the charisma, the personality, the fighting instinct. You know, everybody loves AJ, and I think that he's going to go down an absolute treat, an absolute storm in America. So we want to do our bit and promote it as best as possible, but we want to make sure that the British marketplace sees him, you know, and that's important. And Josh told me that he wants to come and fight back in Britain at the end of the year, and I think that's important. And you know, look, who knows if the Wilder fight happens? I'm sure that could happen in Vegas before a fight, maybe at Wembley next summer or something. But he told me he wants to fight back home in Britain. I think it's important to him to keep that fan base, to keep the 80,000s coming or whatever to Millennium. Of course, we can't have Wembley at winter because there's no roof, but we can go to the Principality down to Cardiff, you know, or we go elsewhere. But yeah, look, we all want to work towards promoting boxing in the best possible way, and especially with Anthony Joshua. But I'm telling you what, when I pick up that microphone on Saturday night, totally impartial, we call it as we see it. If Andy Ruiz becomes world heavyweight champion, Andy Ruiz becomes world heavyweight champion. You know, that's what it is. We call what's in front of us. So there's no AJ hats on Saturday night. It's absolutely what we see in front of us, and that's what we call, as a Sky team. We are broadcasters, and we broadcast the event. That's what we do. We're not promoters, but we obviously want Anthony Joshua to continue to do very well for us and for the British fight fans. But fundamentally, we are here to call fights and to make sure that our production drives fight fans and casual fans into the boxing world. And what a time for boxing. You know, it's so hot at the moment. You know, Katie Taylor's just brought a whole new dimension, you know, to women's boxing, and you know, the girls back home are going in the gyms. My own wife is down the gym. They're doing the pad work. They're doing boxercise classes. It's fantastic to see the kids are getting into it, and you know, it's great for the kids in London, you know, to have a structure. A lot of knife crime, a lot of problems, but to be getting into the boxing gyms and having role models like AJ and Katie is terrific, and that's what we want to continue doing.
All right, well, Adam, and thank you so much for your
time.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive, from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.